oh, that's fine. And like some of you enjoy it and you find it funny, and that's what I want. I just want to entertain you and educate you with certain things that I think maybe you haven't heard before. If you did, I'm just going to put my own little spin on it. So what I do is I like to get my show, take the whole show, and I like to give it to one of my buddies. I'll give it to several of my buddies, but I have one buddy that I know has a lot of friends on the left, a lot of friends in the middle, a couple friends on the right. And I told him, I said, hey man, I want you to give this to anyone that you know on the left, middle, right, I don't care, anyone that's going to be brutally honest with me. And I want to hear their reaction to it, whether they think I'm right or wrong, okay, whether they think I'm funny, whether they don't think I'm funny, whatever, whether they don't like the aesthetics of the studio, I don't care. I just want to hear their opinion. And I was really looking, I even said, I want you to give it to a lot of people on the left, because if I'm saying something that's incorrect, I want you to tell me why it's incorrect. I want you to tell me why I'm wrong. Very similar to like when I was saying how people were saying, if you don't vote for Kamala, you're racist or sexist because she's a black woman. Okay, but then if you don't vote for Trump, can I say you're racist and sexist for not voting for a white man? Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? And so it's one of those things that if you're going to play this, can I play it right back at you? And if I can't, why can't I? Because all I'm doing is I'm flipping the facts right to you. And that's why I wanted to hear what this person in the moderate / left said. So I gave it to my buddy and he said, hey, I got a response back. And this is kind of rude. And you could tell my buddy's, he's way nicer than I am. I know that's not saying a lot. He says he was kind of nervous to give it to me. Like, I don't know if you really want to see it. I go, you're not going to offend me. That's one of the things I've always said before. You're never going to offend me. Let me see it. So I typed it up and all that good stuff, and I wanted to show it to you. There's no names or anything, and there was one personal part about the person. So I did not put it on the text, but I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to go through it and explain to you why this exactly is the problem right now with half of the country. All right. So Jenna, can you pull up pick one for me? All right. So those that are listening on iTunes and Spotify, it's got a nice little graphic. It says, quote, brutal honesty. Roger that. Hold traffic. I made it 8 minutes. I let the Biden allegedly won in 2020 slide. All right. So let's stop here. I made it 8 minutes. So last week's show was an hour and 10 minutes. Jenna, you can keep it up. They don't need to see me all that much. So the last show was 110 minutes. Okay, so, excuse me, an hour and 10. So what is that? 70 minutes. So he lasted 8 minutes. He left 62 minutes on the table. Number one, that's kind of rude to our mutual friend because he said, hey, just want you to watch this, do what you got to do. And number two, if you're watching something and you're trying to review it, say a 2-hour movie, and you get through 16 minutes, are you really going to understand the entire thing? No, you're not. So, okay, that's not a fair assessment right there. Then he says, I let the Biden allegedly won in 2020 slide. Okay. Now, if he would have kept watching, he would have saw the graphs that Jenna put up where it showed that in 2020, there's an extra 10 to 15 million votes that were there that were not there this time. So either all those people died from the Rona, or they just didn't decide to vote this time for some miraculous reason, or there's another reason. Now, if he had gone on and listened to it and watched it, he would have known that, but he didn't. So, okay. So Biden allegedly won in 2020. Yeah, well, I have a good reason, and I think about half the country does as well. Second paragraph, referring to something that killed a shit ton of his fellow citizens as Rona, trivializes what happened and what sounds hip, ? No. The reason why I say Rona instead of COVID is because, yes, I think it is funny. Yes, I mock it. Okay. 100% I do. And why? Because I told you, I went through the Rona in Northern Idaho. If you lived where I lived throughout the entire 4 years, you would not have known one difference. I learned early on from a doctor friend of mine where he said, don't even worry about it. Don't worry about the mask. Imagine if you're sitting behind a baseball backstop and someone threw dirt at you. Would you get dirt on you, or would the backstop stop it all? And I said, well, obviously the dirt's going to hit me. And he goes, exactly what a mask does. He goes, even if you look on the package on the mask, it says does not stop the COVID virus. So, okay, so do I make fun of that? 1 billion %. And why would I do that? Because I knew people weren't taking it seriously. And if you're thinking, what do you mean they weren't taking it seriously? Jenna, do you have pick two about the march? Okay, for all those on iTunes and Spotify, there's a picture of a bazillion people marching with signs, and it says, quote, over 1,000 health professionals signed a letter saying, don't shut down protests using coronavirus concerns as an excuse. All right. So this was during the whole George Floyd summer of love, blah, 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 riots everywhere. And you remember there was a very, very big outpouring of people protesting. Okay. And you got to do what you want to do. You can protest all you want. As long as you're not burning down people's places and not disturbing other people, do what you want. I don't care. You can look like the hero or you can look like an idiot. Just don't make it affect other people. But this had no problem affecting other people. And then when you have 1,000, what was it, doctors, Jenna? Can you pull that one up again? 1,000 professionals, maybe? Saying 1,000 health professionals. So we're talking doctors saying, guys, I know we've been telling you that the Rona is big, bad, serious, angry. Ooh, my gosh. Ooh, scary. But if you're protesting, it's okay. That was the second time I was like, this is stupid. So if I say I'm protesting, can I not get the Rona? And that was one of the other things. So when I started traveling more during the whole Rona situation, when I started to mock it is when because here you could go into restaurants, but then I'd go to Los Angeles and they're like, oh, you got to put on a mask to walk to your seat, then you can sit down. Okay, but then the Rona is not lower. So that's when I always joke about, so sub 60 Ed, my buddy who's sub 60, he should never have had to wear a mask because he's at table height the entire time. Make that make sense. And then I really, really started to make fun of it to miscellaneous text guy when I started seeing this, when all the healthcare professionals, these nurses, Jenna, do you have video 3 ready for me? Start doing this. And I said, okay, come on. No, that's enough. Okay, so for those on iTunes and Spotify, you just basically saw 5 or 6 different dance routines from different nursing and doctor stations all over the country or all over the world. If something is that serious where like people are dying like zombies, do you really have time to say set up a dance routine? Because if you do, it's probably not that serious. So should I mock the Rona? 100%. Did people die from the Rona? Yeah, they did. What people? Fat, unhealthy people. That's what happened. I'm sorry. You call that rude? Like I said before. Jenna, go and put that text back up. I knew more people that died from complications of being treated without the Rona than I did because of the Rona. Okay. And then blame the Rona. Yeah. Thank you, Jenna. Where like I said, my grandmother-in-law, she was locked away in an old folks home. They wouldn't let anyone visit. She died of a lonely heart, 100%. One of my very, very good friends, basically like a daughter to me, her mother passed away because she was in a Seattle hospital and she was not getting treated because she did not have the Rona. So basically she just went to shit. So yes, I will mock it. All right. Then it says El Trumpo is juvenile, but hey, they tried to get him killed without saying who they are, and then starting down that path. Yet again, bud, if you would have kept watching for more than 8 minutes, you would have seen exactly who I'm talking about. And everyone in their right mind can tell you who they are. They are the people that have been calling him Hitler for 8 years. They are the people that are saying he's literally a Nazi. They are the people that have been saying he's doing this, he's doing that. He's very fine people. They're the ones that have been lying for 8 years. Okay. And then what in the initial 8 minutes was there to hook my interest? I don't know, man. Give it another couple seconds. I'm looking for serious thought-provoking views backed by data. Well, that's the wrong show because I'm not looking for a serious thought-provoking views backed by data. I'm going to give you stuff backed by data, but it's going to be humorous because there's enough seriousness in the world right now where not everyone needs to be serious. Have some fun, man. It's okay. Enjoy life. Smile. Then he says, my mental bandwidth, particularly mine, is a precious thing. That was 8 minutes of my life I'll never get back. My bad, dude. I didn't know you were the hero of the world, and your 8 minutes are more precious than anyone else's 8 minutes. Unless it was the last 8 minutes of your life and you're with your family, you got 8 minutes to spare, my man. So that's kind of a pompous thing. Jenna says, that is one problem with them. They don't actually listen. Jenna, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. And then he says, feedback from the moderate middle is this. If you want to be treated as an adult, speak like an adult. I'm good. Like I said before, everyone is an adult nowadays. Not everyone needs to be serious. I think that's what the world needs is less seriousness. People need to learn how to laugh at themselves, look at certain things like I'm doing politically and just say, holy hell, Rubio's right. He's kind of a jackass the way he's saying it, but man, look at this. Like he's kind of mocking it because you know what? He's right. If you want to be taken seriously and use data and facts, I did. You just didn't stick around. What do we need is more lazy, trite, banal? I don't even know what that word means. Maybe I'm not that intelligent. Banal political content with all the substance of cotton candy. Number one, cotton candy, phenomenal, sweet treat. Number two, like I said, if you would have kept watching, you probably would have heard some more and probably would have been intrigued, but you didn't give it the time of day. And going back to the part where it says, I need to be treated like an adult. Okay, and Jenna says that's why she loves harsh comedians. Well, of course, they laugh at everything. And that's what I've said a billion times. You want to mock me for not having a dad in my life? Go ahead. You want to mock me for not having hair? Okay. You want to mock me because I can't run fast? Hey, okay. Way to go, Captain Obvious. I don't care. It doesn't bother me one point. And back to the point of me being a quote unquote adult, Jenna, can you pull up pick 4? Because this is what being an adult for the last 4 years has been. For those on iTunes and Spotify, these are about, let's say, 25 pictures of people acting like adults through the last administration, where you've got lieutenants dressed up as dogs, you've got people doing fake kneeling, you've got some sort of dude dressed in a green dress, but it's got like a nuclear waste on it. You've got some lady dressed up as a vagina the size of a Toyota Camry. You've got dudes dressed up as a blue dog. I don't even know. So if this is acting like an adult, I'm out. I don't want to be like an adult. So my case in point is, if you want to learn and get better, learn and get better. If you don't want to learn and get better, you'll never get better. And so this is one of those things. The Democrats, you have to learn from your mistakes on this one. If you don't want to, that's fine. Everyone on the Republican side will be like, wow, you'll get destroyed by double next time. But if you really want to truly look at yourself and say, guys, what went wrong? What went wrong with our campaign? You could watch last week's episode 82. I told you all about it. What went wrong with our candidate? What went wrong with our beliefs? Because people have spoken. Like Jim Scarano just said, hey, man, it was all about the economy. And your campaign had nothing to do with the economy. It was more of, we're going to have capital gains tax and do this, and we're going to cut the grocery gouging. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, let's try to do something a little bit more tangible for people, if you will. All right. So that's my everything happens for a reason. And you can live and learn or not. I don't care. I'll still be here having a good time with Jenna.